respond to the particular type of call. What that means in real terms is the difference between life and death. So I support it in that we have a short-term unfunded liability for infrastructure in this community. We are not going to be able to just reprioritize our existing revenues and budget and wait for our big signature projects to come online and bring us the revenue. We have a shortfall that we have to meet. And the longer we wait to address some of those gaps in infrastructure, the more it's going to cost our taxpayers. The longer you wait, the more your incremental costs go up. And so we have a shortfall and we have to meet it.
Thank you, Mr. Padilla. Mr. Paglia.
Sure, the residents in District 3 already pay among the highest in property taxes, mallards, and HOA fees. I personally oppose the sales tax because it's a general sales tax, and in the wrong hands could be spent on pensions instead of improving our neighborhoods. I think it's critically important that we do spend anything on public safety. That is, should be, and always will be, the number one priority of any government agency. But we need to be careful with the money that we already take in, and we need to be responsible in making sure that any taxpayer funds are spent in a way that's going to benefit our residents as quality of life. So, in the long term, we need to continue working to bring more good-paying jobs close to home.
All right, thank you. Mr. Irizarry, question for Mr. Paggio, please.
Mr. Paggio.
Would you pull the microphone closer, please?
Mr. Paggio, if there is no immediate health or safety risk, how do you feel about cities creating ordinances that authorize or mandate city inspections of private property?
As a strong supporter of private property rights, I'd have difficulty supporting such an ordinance.
Mr. Padilla.
Yeah, but I think we don't want onerous regulations that are going to unreasonably constrain people from making improvements or cause an under financial burden. I mean, there has to be a public policy purpose behind it. I mean, if we're talking about public health or safety, that's a different thing.
Okay. Next up, Ms. Magali. This would be for Mr. Padilla, please.
Mr. Padilla, when is it appropriate for cities to create mandates that require owners to update their homes for aesthetic reasons, safety, or the environment? What types of mandates would you support?
Well, I think we have plenty of mandates, both at the state and local level, everything from the building code on down, that deal with nuisances, that deal with environmental hazards, that deal with the building code compliance. I think that we need to do a better job of supporting the folks that enforce the existing regulations that we have. I think that the focus has to be on safety and health and welfare. And again, they need not be intrusive or onerous or unnecessary. They have to make sense.
Thank you.
I generally don't support mandates, especially if they come unfunded and place a financial burden on taxpayers. I live in Otay Ranch, and I'm part of the Otay Ranch Community Association, and we have strict architectural guidelines. In many instances, homeowner associations implement and enforce these types of mandates with the homeowner's knowledge and consent. So, and to retroactively implement mandates would be an unfair burden to place on homeowners and taxpayers.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Azari, for Mr. Padilla, please.
Mr. Padilla, how would you reduce traffic impacts in Chula Vista?
If I can solve that one, I'll be rich. You know, you can't build your way out of traffic congestion, but you can fight for our fair share in South County of funding, regional funding and federal funding, and smart policies that improve our roads and streets, and we can continue to support projects that better link our communities to active transportation alternatives, including transit. We have to provide people a diversity of options to get around. There's been study after study for years that show that if public transit is viewed by people as competitive in terms of the time it takes to get you from one point to the next, and it's viewed as safe and clean, people will use it. So we need to make the right kinds of investments and support the right kinds of regional policies that will support active transportation options for people and to improve efficiencies through management of our surface roads and streets so that people can get through in a more efficient manner.
Thank you, Mr. Paggio.
You know, this is going to be an ongoing issue in our district, and since we have the largest amount of growth in District 3, our long-term goal should be to bring good-paying jobs to accommodate our skilled workforce to reduce commuting. But immediately, we should invest in advanced traffic control systems, and develop smart communities through our build-out, similarly to what we're seeing in Millennium.
Thank you. Ms. Guerrero, question for Mr. Padilla, please.
Mr. Padilla, Steve?
Yes, Mr. Padilla, please. Thank you.
Steve, the city will now have distinct council districts, establishing more local representation. Certain land use decisions may be necessary to move the entire city forward at the expense of your district. Will you choose to do what's best for the city, or will you find it more important to protect the voters of your district? How will you find a balance in making these decisions?
I sort of reject the premise that because we have district representation that sets up a conflict necessarily. Let's remember, these district boundaries are sort of artificial. They're not giant walls that are built around our districts. What generally is beneficial to residents, whether that's safe streets, clean streets, opportunities for jobs, walkable communities, healthy communities, is good for the entire community. I think you always have to remember the context. You have to remember how do decisions impact the entire community. And you always have to put that first. And you can still have the kind of geographic representation that you do at the district level and make sure that your neighborhoods and your residents have a voice in the decision-making process.
Mr. Padilla? Excuse me, Mr. Padilla. Excuse me.
I'll work with that. Until Mr. Voter made a decision that district representation style government was a more effective manner of governance. So we have to accept that. And I believe we must take stock of this fact and adhere to that vision. I'll be a strong advocate for our district, District 3, ensuring that it receives adequate resources and city services, and protecting it from irresponsible projects. Like any other decision, there has to be costs and benefits, and I believe I can effectively balance the needs of my district with those of the city as a whole.
Thank you. Ms. Hernandez, question for Mr. Paggio.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Pull the microphone closer, please. Can you do that?
I can.
Yeah, you can a little more. There you go.
Okay, so
Thank
this
you.
is for Jason Paggio. Do you support the city of Chula Vista getting into energy business?
I don't. I believe distraction of core functions of what a city should provide, which is strong public safety, quality city services, and the like. So, no.
I don't envision the city becoming a municipal utility anytime soon, and I would not support that at this point. But I have supported in the past, and I will continue to support any options and any ideas that are responsible, fiscally and otherwise, that would reduce energy costs for residents and for business.
All right, thank you. Ms. McGauley, for Mr. Paggio.
Mr. Paggio, what is your position on rent control?
I oppose rent control. I believe it creates housing shortages, reduces maintenance of properties, and restricts growth in the long term.
Mr. Padilla.
Yeah, I would have the same answer. I would oppose it in general. The only, what I do support is our rent review program for mobile home residents that we have here, which I think is unique because that market is very unique in terms of that housing product. Has some unique challenges, and I think we have a very balanced and workable system in place.
Thank you. Ms. Hernandez, question for Mr. Paggio.
What measures would you advocate to enhance law enforcement response times?
Sure, I think there's a clear connection between staffing and response times. But we have to work hard to constantly manage and understand how effective recruiting and retention of police officers is, and to ensure departments have fully staffed with qualified police officers. When a department is fully staffed, it means that officers are not only able to respond to calls more quickly, but they're also able to spend what's called more proactive time addressing our community and quality of life concerns. It's something that gets asked a lot in District 3 as I'm meeting homeowners, and I think it's a very critical and crucial question, so thanks for asking.
Mr. Padilla.
The first priority of any local government is always public safety. Who is on the other end of 911? Right now in District 3, it's the worst. Only about barely more than half, 53% of the time, are our first responders arriving on scene at call for assistance within the threshold time established by our standards. And what that means to you, who are residents of District 3 or the community, could mean the difference between life and death, the difference in the time it takes to respond to a medical aid call, or a serious criminal situation, or a home fire, or structure fire of some kind. We have to go back and revisit how and put forward a investment plan that's going to staff up our police and fire departments, because they are at the lowest per capita staffing of any agency in the state. Those response times and those staffing levels are completely unacceptable to me. We have to give our professional firefighters and police officers the staffing levels, the training, and the equipment they need to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Padilla. Mr. Castaneras, a question please for Mr. Padilla.
Steve, infill development is a component of the urban core specific plan. Do you support that aspect of the plan?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we have to constantly provide, hopefully, incentives for existing property owners, business owners, and other investors to make improvements and redevelop, to use the term loosely, and to have a broad range of options to bring new investments and opportunities in the urban core. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Paglia.
I'll make this easy, yes.
Thank you. For our final question for the District 3 candidates, Ms. Guerrero, would you please direct your question to Mr. Padilla?
Steve, why are you the best qualified candidate for this district city council seat?
I think my experience is substantial and unique, and I think that leadership requires a couple of very key traits, and that is the ability to bring divergent interests across party boundaries, ideological boundaries, interest groups together in order to deliver results. And it also requires some backbone. It requires not warming a seat in the audience, but standing up and speaking out when the city of San Diego imposes higher recycled water rates on all the residents in eastern Chula Vista just because they can, and because they want to give their constituents a lower rate at our expense. And Chula Vista should have been, as the second largest city in the county, in a position to defeat that measure, but we weren't, because there were barely any leaders standing up and speaking up, and I did. I stood up against our big energy utility for energy independence. That's why they love me so. I stood up against polluters to protect our bayfront. Leadership is not just about being everybody's friend. It is about bringing divergent interests together to make progress, but it also is about taking on the tough fights and taking risks. I'm that kind of leader.
Thank you. Mr. Paggio, you have the last word tonight.
Sure, I've had the opportunity to be a small business owner, which taught me the difficulties of making a payroll, battling government regulation, and finding ways to develop the best product possible. As a nonprofit founder and executive, I work to benefit the community outside of government, utilizing the power of community to bring us all together. And as a chief of staff for a council member, I've seen firsthand the failures and successes of our city and government, and the ways we can make local government more effective, more accountable, and more efficient. This range of experience makes me the most qualified and best candidate for this council seat. Thank you.
All right, now we have time for a 1-minute closing statement from each of the candidates. Mr. Paggio, you will go first, please.
Sure, I think in the mix of all that's going on at the national level, this is a nonpartisan race, and I'd like to remind everybody of that. And I'm very proud to receive the support of 3 former mayors and the majority of our current city council, both Republicans and Democrats. You know, I believe Chula Vista's voters are placed with 2 very distinct options this election year. We can either look backwards and to the politics and policies of the past, or we could turn the page to a new era of progress and prosperity. And all work hard to earn our voters' trust and be a council member we can all be proud of. I hope you'll join me. Please visit www.chulavistaforward.org. I look forward to the privilege and honor of serving you as your next council member for District 3. Thanks.
Mr. Padilla.
Thank you for the opportunity tonight. I love this community. I've had opportunities to pick up my marbles and go somewhere else, and I never have. It's never given up on me. I will never give up on it. I'm committed to this community. I've spent most of my adult life working to improve it, and I believe I'm in a unique position to represent the residents of District 3. I'm very proud to have a broad base of bipartisan support for my candidacy from Republicans and Democrats, business and labor, from our police officers and firefighters who put their trust in me in this race to keep our neighborhoods in District 3 safe. I hope I'll have the opportunity to continue to dialogue with you, to earn your vote, and to be part of an amazing team that will move this community forward. Thank you very much.
Our thanks to the candidates. Thank you very much for being here tonight. We will now take about an 8-minute break. We'll reconvene on the top of the hour. See you back here in just a few minutes. Thank you.